Good morning. I always call you to discuss your entanglements with the child trafficking cult of Scientology. I know you have to be aware that there's a lot of raids occurring that have recently happened in Tampa, Florida. There was a big raid of a cult that is actually doing the very similar things that have gone on under your nose here in LA. You need to really avail yourself of the abuses of this cult that's in your neighborhood. There's a lot of crime still going on. I want you to take it seriously. I'm going to keep bringing up your past that you did not go in and investigate when there was a help sign in the window at Alfred Hubbard Way. There were exigent circumstances that you could have gone in and helped save people. There's been the Homeland Security has a website talking about trafficking and everything. I don't know why you're not reading about that and learning about cults in your neighborhood. There was even a big TikTok cult that was raided in LA, and they're doing the same exact thing that was done, that's been going on for years in Los Angeles. You really have to get your noses out of the wheres of this cult of Scientology. They're safe pointing you. You need to understand Operation Snow White and how we were infiltrated. The internet is widely available for you. Your kids can tell you all about Scientology and everything that's going on with the South Park episodes. You really need to do your research. This is just a shame, I'm sure. And also, this is not hate speech. We're seeing all this thing with the Charlie Kirk situation and how they're going to investigate speech and hate speech and blah, blah, blah. But this is not hate speech when the protesters are making you aware of the abuses. And I hope that you do not go after people for spreading the truth about what's really going on behind the walls of that compound on L. Ron Hubbard Way. It's not hate speech. And the Jewish community would tell you it's not hate speech. There's a lot of things that are done to Jews and other religions, but this is not the same thing when they go after protesters telling the actual abuse that's going on. Within other religious organizations, they do not do this to children, especially in Jewish preschools. They do not do what they do to the kids in the schools of Scientology. They follow the rules and laws of the land, unlike the Scientology cult that does not, with educational neglect, medical neglect, and forced purification rundowns, which cause absolutely toxic niacin levels, making kids sit in saunas for 5 hours. Bye.
Great job.
Hello, hi board, everybody. So just to add to that, in Scientology, today I have the book from J.B. Mustard. This is not a gift, this is evidence for every single one of you. He specifically wants a message for every one of you inside the book on the very nice goldenrod color, which is the color that they print your name on when you get declared or excommunicated from Scientology, so that the whole inside of Scientology knows this person's bad, never speak to them again. That happened to me, and that happened to almost every single person that has tried to explain their childhood in the culty crime organization Scientology. So this book is a very detailed, full of evidence of this one person's childhood that represents a lot of the children and the abuses and the crimes that were going on. He specifically knows I'm here today, and he specifically is listening and knows who's on the board. There's a note for each one of you with your name on it. If I could give this to you, please take the time and read it. It's not hard to read. He wrote it in a way. This is super hard. Somebody being super programmed and only knowing the language of Scientology. It's like coming from another country. It's like coming from another world and trying to decipher that. He wrote this in a way where he explains in very clear words without the language of Scientology. And that may seem like, okay, but that was really hard for him to do. Another book is called The Expert Witness by Jesse Prince. He was in the 80s and the 70s, part of the head structure of this organization. So this book specifically is the child in the 80s and the 70s that was born. And then later I was born right after this. So this is just giving you an idea of how some child was torn away from their very, very okay, well family. And in detail, how this was allowed to be infiltrated into the city. The next book is also The Expert Witness. These are two people. I just met with Jesse Prince yesterday. This is somebody who took 7 years to write The Expert Witness. And the Expert Witness book is all about the top head crimes of how they got away and infiltrated everything. So this isn't a gift, this is evidence, this is for me to know that for the rest of the voices of the kids of Scientology, I came here and specifically made sure you get this. Thank you. Please take your time and read it. If it'll give you 10 hours, you'll be done.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to offer my support to the previous officer. I really definitely wish that our chief can send someone to reach out. And then that is exactly the protest I talked about last week, because he has been doing that for several years. You just heard from him. There is no violation, there's no attack on officers, there's no impeding traffic, everything done in a legal way. That is what we call it, protest. But the other kind of Black Lives Matter protest, throwing objects, taking over the street, taking over the store, billions of stores and property was looted and damaged. There is not a protest. That is called rioting. That is called committing a crime. So there's a huge difference between that. Second of all, just like the previous online speaker said, I want to offer my condolences to Mr. Charlie Kirk, the one who always activates debate, discussion, but always in a peaceful way. Charlie Kirk never looted a store. Charlie Kirk never just take over the street. Charlie Kirk put a table in the discussion all over the university campuses. So I admire that, and then I respect that, and then for all of the Charlie Kirk supporters, for all of the Charlie Kirk family members, I offer you my deepest condolences. Second of all is that I want to talk about the homicide, the rate number, Chief. Yes, I think Mr. George Buzetti just answered my question, because every time I come here, I heard the chief are saying officer numbers are down and the crime numbers are down, and I couldn't understand the reason why. But right now, I find a report from the LAPD website, page on 667. From 2023 to 2024, there is a 62% increase in rate. But however, we never talk about that. You never talk about it. Because in 2025, you are comparing to the previous year, and you are saying 3% decrease, 2% decrease, which is true, and that is okay. But I do want to say a word, Chief, and also for all the commissioners, that when the previous year we increased by 62% in rate, and then somehow right now we are saying we reduced it by 2%, there's no celebration right there. There's still a problem that is shortage of officers on the street. They're still becoming some sort of a new normal to attack officers. They become a new normal to randomly just obeying the orders of officers. That's the reason why we end up right here. The officers are too soft. Please stand up, LAPD.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to follow up also on Ms. LaraFM. People from around the world, they've been asking, requesting that we read this book into a testimony, and we can't, we know that. So thanks to Miriam, who came up with the idea that, let's get these books into the hands of city officials so you can see firsthand what Laura is talking about, what we're all talking about. But I'm talking as an advocate. Laura is, and others, they're talking as victims. Actually, they were born and raised right here in LA. So it's, in Florida, but in this book, his story starts right here in LA. And you're going to find out, and you're going to be shocked. And I hope you all read it. Please read it. A lot of people cared enough to make sure you're informed on what's going on and the partnerships that you have had. They're on your CPABs. They're, Scientology. They've been breaking all kinds of laws, and I think you just have to have awareness and see another side of it. See the side from the victims who are saying, "This was my reality. This is the hell I was raised in. The neglect, the abuse." He, as a child, didn't know how to brush his teeth until, I think he was like 8 years old. And even the bathing, it's just egregious. And I read the book and I'm like, this is in America, this is in my city. And if I wasn't already persuaded to protest for, then I would absolutely, after reading that book, in it until whenever. And like Amy said, Jill said, that it is not an attack on people's religious beliefs. You can have whatever religious beliefs you want, but your organization cannot be criminal and have criminal acts, criminal, neglect, all kinds of senior neglect, which is still going on. There's still minors in Sea Org. There may not be the infants anymore, but there's still minors. We don't know how they're housed. We want a wellness check on any of the minors. We want wellness checks on the seniors. And we've been asking for this, but you cannot read this and then look at everything the same way. And I'm going to keep asking to remove them from your CPABs, remove all connections, Chief, please, until you really get to the bottom of what's going on, and to know, and for them to answer. They need to answer for what happened to them, even though it's not, I know there's always statute of limitations, but they should not, when you read this book, and I hope you do, and you hear the testimony of victims, hopefully you will at least agree, they don't deserve to be on your CPAP until this has been adjudicated. Thank you.
Have you guys read the information that I gave you on social, the report that she produced? Not only that, I gave you a pile on elder abuse, 10 times by Van Egg, 3 times sprayed with fire extinguishers inside, which your office has never even heard about before. And the last time recently, the stupid fools left the receipt paid for with an American Express card, which means you can ID the fool. I gave you video of your pictures with an LAPD car going by and didn't do anything in the middle of the night while they're doing my van. Okay? Now, at the last meeting, the chief presented your 250-page report on crime. Damn, I actually read this stuff. I do speed reading shit, And why did he forget Ray? Huh, TV? Because by your own report, it went up 61.5%. Didn't it? Duh. Do you even know what's in your report? And then what you report to the state shows right here, document from the state, down 6.57%. Well, that's an 11-to-1 plus split. You're running 2 sets of books. Number one, that's fraud, potentially RICO, potentially Hobbs Act. Those are federal. Do you understand the position you're putting yourself in with this BS? See, I caught LA Unified doing the same thing with their enrollment. Report that they had just a few percentage points off the kids when it was 28%. Now they're down 390,000 students with no drop in the population of this city or the birth rate. And guess where all those 390,000 kids are? They're on the street, in gangs, and in your damn jail. And since I've been in your jails twice, I can get out of it. I'm trusted by the inmates. You people, you get put in there, you're screwed. I wasn't. Your fools threw me in with 100 gangs to be beat to death. Guess what happened? They asked me to come over and talk to them, so I taught hundreds of inmates evidence law and changed all those cases, including murder warrants. Now, you can achieve your job and get down on LFUs because you are mandated reporters. And as usual, because I give you no way out, here it is all in writing. A lesson for all of you. Don't just speak. Put it in writing because it goes in the hard file.
Morning. So, just a little while ago, Jim McDonald was talking about the Mission Division shooting, and he said that the suspect in that case who got shot had a replica firearm, a plastic gun. But while you were stating that, your own PIO just tweeted about that incident, saying that the person had a handgun. So there's a disconnect between what you're saying and what your department's saying in real time. Now, another thing is, you mentioned that there was an injunction on LAPD for essentially beating the crap out of journalists. That happened last week, but this has been going on for 2 months. It started off with them beating journalists, and then getting a restraining order, and then them violating the restraining order, and then having the hearings over the injunction and getting the injunction. During that time, none of you guys said anything. Rob just said something last week in passing. But you guys failed in your duties of oversight. You guys should have been on top of that 2 months ago, asking questions, demanding that it stop, and you said nothing. And that's what we come to expect of oversight with this body. They've announced, Karen Bass has announced that she has a new person that she's putting on the commission. Jeff Scovin. Did a little bit of research into him, found out that he's done $800,000 in business with the city over the last couple of years. So that's really convenient.
Of course he has.
You know, that's the person we want doing oversight, the person who's literally making gains off of the city. Then he also donated $1,000 to Mike Lee Stafford B's defense fund. That's what we want on the oversight committee?
That's what Karen Bass wants.
That's what Karen Bass wants. But then I went onto his social media. I said, you know, let's find out what this guy is really about. I go onto his Twitter account. First thing I see is him retweeting AIPAC. And I scroll down and he's attacking Cori Bush, a legislator in another state, because she criticized Israel. So he called her anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic for criticizing Israel. Then I scroll through, and for the last 2 years, he hasn't talked about LA. He's talked about nothing about LA in any sense, or about the LAPD. He talks about Israel only, supporting Israel. There are pictures of him on there dressing up as an IDF. His wife dressing up as an IDF. His kids dressing up as IDF. Now let me ask you something. When you think of oversight and accountability, do you think of the IDF?
Absolutely.
And is this who we want? Somebody who idolizes the IDF? Is that who we want on our police oversight committee?
No.
It makes no sense. This guy has no business being on this committee. Karen Bass better find somebody new, or else we're going to sit there and I'm going to take it to his business and put him through hell. You guys didn't sustain a complaint against him last week. I'm coming to your fucking house, starting to pass it.
We're all going to your house. We're all going to your fucking houses.
Staff allowed to bill.